Welcome back. It's Katie and Kat here to talk about motivation this week, and that is represented through the gemstone called Blue Goldstone. So,
Yes.
do you want to go ahead and start us off with the information?
Yes. So this stone is pretty unique. It's one of the synthetic man-made stones that we have. We don't have very many of those at all.
Yeah.
But it's just super, super pretty. So we couldn't help ourselves.
Excuse me.
So Blue Goldstone is a motivational stone whose appearance also evokes you to never stop reaching for the stars. Linked to a beautiful night sky, it is a reminder that light will always be found in the darkness to uplift your confidence, ambition, and achieve your deepest desires.
So good. And I do, like, this is the reason, again, most of the time we gravitate to those natural gemstones, but the Blue Goldstone, I feel like, and I know on camera, like they can't like fully see. I do try, like I've tried to do like some like just reels and different things where it really like I get in there because it's like it just like shimmers. It has like little like golden glitter flecks in it, and it's such a perfect color. So this is for me personally a stone and like a pair of earrings that I reach for a lot, just because I do wear a decent amount of like black or darker colors. And I love the affirmation of motivation. I feel like that's just something that I always use, especially again, building a business and a company. I think for like both of us like to be like, okay, we gotta go, we gotta make the video, we gotta take the pictures, we gotta do the SEO, we gotta like figure out the ad, like whatever, all the things, like you need that like motivation. So I love these pieces. I hope people, they bring the same amount of joy to me that they do to the people that purchase them and wear them because they're gorgeous and I love motivation.
They are. I know. And it's such an important thing and it's really hard to find sometimes.
Yes.
And I'm really big into fitness too and working out. And I just think it's so fascinating. I love moving my body, but it's really hard to find motivation. And a lot of people that I have heard, like coaches and different, podcasts, that they're like, motivation is stupid. Like you will not have motivation every single time you go to the gym. You're not going to have motivation to get all of your to-dos done. You have to have like more of this grit and willpower and the dedication along with the motivation. Like the motivation will come and go. That's an emotion. That's not something that will be with you always. It's an amazing thing to have and to try to channel and manifest, but it's not sturdy. You can't just rely on it every single time. So I think dedication along with the motivation is really important. But I love that in our affirmation card, it talks about the darkness to uplift you. And so you're going to have that darkness and light. And so that the idea of those contrasting emotions and contrasting things helps you appreciate each of them more. So I think that's a really cool part about this motivation card, and that what this represents is that you're going to have both, and that's okay. And it will help you appreciate it even more when you don't see it as much.
And I think, like you said, with especially like the working out one, that is such, I feel like that's where I struggle too. Like sometimes I actually, because again, I love both. Like I love my job. I love what I do. I love building a company. I love working out. I love feeling fit and healthy. Like that's actually, again, remember the 5 values? Like health is one of my 5 values. Was that on yours too? I can't remember. Oh yeah, I think that was the one that we aligned on.
We shared those core values.
Like, we were both like, because I just remember like when they're asking you like, what's more important? This, like, do you prefer like, trust or, vulnerability or whatever, like the values were. It was always like, I kept like in my mind being like, if I don't have health, like I just know, I remember again, like that yin and yang concept, the times where you are not healthy. Like I was telling a friend once and he was like not feeling good. And I was like, what do you think is the best part about being sick? He was like whatever you're talking about, I was like, no, the best part is the moment you start feeling better. Because at least for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been taking my health for granted. I forget what it's like. It's like so everything. But again, if you're just like healthy all the time, you just kind of forget about it. Like, like, I'm just breathing. I'm just here and not like realize like what a blessing that is. So again, back to the motivation though, I love being healthy, but for some reason, like the two almost things I love and that means so much to me, like health and business, like that motivation is just like sometimes hard to cultivate. So I like that. Again, like we're all about feeling enough. And like, yes, personal growth is important, but it's also okay if you don't feel motivated every second of the day.
Yeah.
Which again is why like having just those little, that 5 seconds, putting on your jewelry to just try to focus on that piece a little bit more and be like, okay, I'm going for motivation today. I've got this, you know, we'll get to the actual affirmation at the end here, but yeah, just being able to have kind of like those thoughts and reminders about the importance of motivation.
I love that. That's a beautiful example. So what helps you kind of channel motivation? I know we talked about the stone and the earrings and taking that time to, you know, focus on motivation in the morning.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you do that helps you feel a little bit more motivated when you're not feeling it?
Yeah, I think for sure it's the kind of like remembering the why concept, you know, like when you're trying to, if you're, for some reason, if you're lacking that motivation, the thing you're trying to do is something, it's kind of almost like it's like a long game play. It seems like where the motivate, if it's like like I don't need motivation to go eat a chocolate bar, like that's because it's like an instant gratification, but motivation is tied to gratification but not instant gratification. So like whatever you're doing is not going to necessarily bring you that instant result. You know, working on our business, like if I put out this podcast or if I, you know, create this new ad or work on this email camp, like that's not going to instantly make my business successful, but consistently doing that over time will. And the same like with working out, it's like the motivation to go to the gym or eat healthy or move my body, like that in and of it's like that singular activity isn't necessarily going to give me that instant like dopamine hit of like feel good, like woohoo. But the long-term game, like that'll have like an even more powerful long-term kind of like effect on my happiness and joy.
Yes, I love that.
So yeah, like
the consistency is important.
The motivation, it's like the long, so it's like remembering the why. Okay, like in this moment I don't, but I know, like again, it's almost trying to feel into that future moment a little bit and be like, okay, if I know how good that will feel to get my body to this place I want it to be and my health or, you know, like whatever it is.
Yeah, I love that. That's a good thing because it's really hard to remember the why sometimes when you're in the low points and the deep icky feelings. So I think that's important.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have any other kind of like tips to cultivate motivation?
I always talk about this. It feels like I'm just repeating the same thing over and over. But journaling in the morning.
Yes. Tell me.
So in my journal, I have a journal that's just like write down all my thoughts, get everything out of my head. But I have another journal for
and then I don't have to dump them on you. Katie, here's all my thoughts. Okay,
so I have some systems in place for that. But so then my other journal is more of a guided thing. So it's like, hey, write down the 3 things you're grateful for. What are 3 things that would make today awesome? What is something you want to learn today? Whatever. So there's a few questions, but one of them that I really like is what would make today great. And so if you're, you know, like, hey, I'm only looking for 3 things today. Like I have all these other things to do, but if I get nothing else done, like what are the most important things? Do those first. And so then once you do those, it's like, oh, that felt really good. I love the feeling of checking off a box and saying, yep, I did that, cross that off. And so if that's motivating to you, like write a list or physically check something off your list. And it kind of just gives you this little hit of, oh yeah, okay, so what's next? And sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. But if you know like your priorities, that's kind of what helps me a little more.
So good. I love that. Yeah. Gosh, Katie, We have to, like, maybe we should just make that a part of, like, we should have like set office hours. Actually, we all love the flexibility of not having set office hours right now. But I'm like, we just make it like, okay, everyone, it is like journal time. Like, stop what you're doing at your workstation. Like, we're all just gonna sit here and journal for like 15 minutes.
I've actually thought about that.
We should actually do. I think that's
like, hey, we have like 2 minutes of journaling.
Yeah.
Get your thoughts out. Or I've even thought about like, okay, we're just gonna do like some deep breathing for a second, and then we'll get into our meeting. Or
yeah.
this is our affirmation this week, and so we're gonna make everybody focus on the affirmation.
That's what we should do. We should do that at like team meetings and stuff. Yeah, we should incorporate like journaling or breathing or all the things.
I know.
It's a great idea.
Like, if you don't want to do that, you probably shouldn't work here.
This is kind of our jam.
Kind of what we do. So it's not crazy. I've actually thought about doing that.
We should totally do it. We should do it for our meetings.
We should.
Because then I'm like, that would be the perfect time for me to journal, because goodness knows I'm not able yet to do that on my own for whatever reason. So.
And it's kind of like a little reset.
Yes.
Like, it's hard to go into a meeting or into whatever you're doing if you just came from picking up kids, you just came from whatever, you're running late.
That's exactly
so
how.
then,
what are you talking about? Like, where are you pulling these random things?
What are these
examples? They never happen like that.
It's just a little reset. Like, deep breathe for just 2 minutes, 4 breaths, and that's it.
Let's do it
right now.
I mean, when we have our
meeting.
Yes, let's talk about it. We'll brainstorm that. I like it.
Yeah. Okay. So just little things. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be super hard. It doesn't have to be super time consuming. It's just a little reset wherever you need it. Check off a box if you have to check off a box.
Find that motivation. Blue Goldstone.
Yes.
So good.
All right. So any other thoughts?
No, that's good for me.
Well, then I'll read our affirmation. So the Blue Goldstone motivation affirmation is, I am motivated to reach my goals. Period. Mic drop.
Get your Blue Goldstone. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us this week, and we will see you next time for some more mindset tips and tricks.
Bye.